Hi, everybody.
We're here.
It's the Bobbsey twins. It's Pam and Lisa Debates, and she is visiting from Seattle, Washington. I'm so honored to have her here. You guys who know her, she's a multimedia artist, mixed media artist, and yeah.
Yeah, and I'm honored to be here. We've been having so much fun.
Yeah. So we're going to get right down to business, guys, because we have work to do. And so what are we doing today? What we are doing today is we are abstracting reality. Good morning to all of you, and please in chat let us know your name and where you're coming in from, where you live, because it's really fun after this call ends, after this live ends, that we can look back and see who joined us. We're really happy you're here. So abstracting reality. Now, I guess each one of us has a certain level of wanting to do that. Not everyone wants to do that. Lisa's done both. I've done both, and many of you out there probably have done both, because we're trying to figure out what is our personal voice, where do we feel comfortable on that spectrum between photorealism, which is on one end, and then total non-objectivity, which is on the other end. Right. So in preparation for today, Lisa and I actually did a lot of thought. And Lisa, what were you thinking about prior to getting started today?
Well, of course, we looked at our images that we had, and Pam has an adorable little barn here, so I had to take pictures of that. And that is actually we prepared yesterday, and we painted.
Yes.
So
in other words, we took photos from around our house, and then I had gotten some roses the other day. Just wanted to do some printouts of potential things we could abstract. Now, we hope you guys are going to be doing this with us, right?
Yes.
So some of you got the message that I asked you all to have 6 to 8 photos. We are going to time this. And the reason for that is so that we don't feel pressure. When you time something and you say, okay, I've got 15 minutes to do something kind of quick, get the essence of what I love down, you realize that, gosh, I'm not going to get every single petal. I'm not going to get every single flower. I'm not going to get all the stuff around it, right? You've got to simplify, and you've got to edit things down quickly. That's what today is all about. So what we hope is that you don't feel pressure. And even if you don't have a photo, don't worry, because you can just imagine a landscape. Just use your imagination. Now, I wanted to show you in preparation for today, I did work from this photo. Now, I had to decide, what do I like about it? What don't I like about it? How do I feel about the shapes? And in preparation, I worked on, and so I had several photos, all a variety of them, right? And some I liked and some I didn't. But I wanted to find a way to take either the shapes from something that, even if I didn't like it, and work it into a composition that I felt happy about. So I just want to show you that I did some of these guys prior to today, and I simplified. Now this, for me, feels fine to me because it's still me, and I had to choose colors that I responded to, but I greatly simplified. There's so much detail you don't see, and you're not always sure what you're even looking at. And then I did another 4. Okay, so this is kind of working in a series where your subject is changing, but you're using kind of the similar style, similar color palette. You can see the palette didn't change because I used Crayopas, and this is just a sketchbook. So for today, what I'm going to do, I chose this particular composition, and I'm just going to show you what I've done. Now, originally we didn't know exactly how today was going to work out. But what I've decided is that with that one composition, I'm going to duplicate it, right?
Yes.
So pretty much this is mixed media. I did this yesterday. It's smaller. This one I thought, okay, I'll try a underpainting of red, and here an underpainting of black. And I took a white, this is like a Posca pen, and I just did my composition, right, mapping where things are going to be. And then I have some other
counting shapes, right?
Yeah. So then I did some line collage. This has actually been collaged onto this illustration board, and I made all these the same size because it's just convenient. I couldn't work too large for this call because Lisa and I we've got a line drawn on this table like that.
So if
you see any hand slapping, you're gonna know who's in trouble. This one I just covered with graphite, and I'm going to use an eraser to draw with. Okay. And so that's another way. And then I've got some other ideas, I might use collage. and then some mixed media like water-based pencils. And yeah, so I've got 8 ideas. And the idea for today is that to work on one idea for 15 minutes. And I have a timer here. We're not going to do as much talking because we're going to be working. So today's kind of a work day. We hope you'll join us, but we will pause and talk about how things are going. And of course, the camera will be on our work. So does anyone have any quick questions before we get started? Hi, everybody. Hi, Bev. Hi, Jen, Giovanna, Nancy, and
yes.
Pamela.
Lots of people
Great.
from Pro.
Nice, guys. We love having you here. So what we're going to do is we will respond to questions once we get to that a stopping point. But mainly today, the idea of a Monday is that we're not the only ones painting. We want you to join us and do that as well. So at this point, we're going to turn the camera.
Do you want
down.
me to show mine at all? Or?
Oh, yeah. Lisa,
Yeah?
talk about what you've been doing.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
that's all right.
Yeah.
So my photo was basically the barn that Pam showed. And although mine was a little bit wider out, and it's on my phone, so you will be able to see it. Yeah.
So that's the barn.
Yes, basically the barn. But like I said, mine was wider out. So what intrigued me, 2 things that intrigued me, well, 3, the truck that's sticking out in front of the barn and the tree that's by the truck, and then the phone lines. Love those phone lines. And so this was probably the most detailed one. It was the first one. It was the biggest, kind of to figure out where I was going with it, count my shapes and everything. And so then I changed a little bit of
the format.
Yeah, the format.
Yeah,
sorry.
Gotcha.
And so I still did the lines in the tree and the truck. Just, I was just a little faster and quicker, and, things were less important. And then this one, Pam said, hey, why don't you do totally different?
Instead of local color.
That's right. And so I chose complementary color. And of course, the sky is not blue.
The tree is not green.
No.
Grass is not green.
No. So complementaries. And so this was really fun. This is probably my most abstract because of color and shape. I had to get that phone line in there though, but the truck's not.
The truck's not.
That's right. And then I went to a different format again, and I probably brought in a little more detail again, put the truck back. Really love those phone lines and trees, but it was so fun, like Pam said, to do the same one over and over and over, and to see how much more you can leave out. And so I did take a picture of her barn again today from an angle. So a little bit perspective difference. So it's going to be fun.
Really fun. And I also just wanted to say that a couple little prompts that you can be thinking of here is that what is the whole point, and what are you actually doing when you abstract something, right? Because when you look at it, here's a realistic photo. You've got a barn, it's a shape, you've got trees, you've got a foreground, you've got a telephone pole. And when you abstract something, there are many ways you can do it. Now, here's more of a long view. You've got things way in the background that kind of get faded. So some ideas would be that you might emphasize, like in Lisa, she emphasized, can you hold that one up? When you have a lot of the surrounding, and you can clearly see that the focal point is the barn, you're emphasizing the setting here as well as the barn. Now, another one, she's kind of just zoomed more in on, say, the barn here, right? And so there's less setting. It's more sky, for example. But so you have a choice of emphasizing your setting, or perhaps you might want to really emphasize value. Obviously, that would just mean that you're looking at, to squint your eyes, you see lights, you see darks, and you're mostly playing with value. Then you could also take a look at, say, another one like this one and say, wow, what I love about this realistic photo is the texture. And so you could just in your mind say, I'm going to activate my surface with acrylic medium gel or acrylic gel and let that dry, and then dribble my acrylics over that to get the feel of these rocks. So if texture speaks to you, you're going to be abstracting in a very different way than a person who is looking at value differences. Look at how this is a very different value, and then it gets super light. And another way would be line and direction. Maybe what appeals to you about this one is, when you really zoom in on the rocks, you start to look at the directions of the facets in the rocks, And you start to do a line drawing, like line shooting up this way and line shooting up that way. And perhaps you start carving out your composition with lines and texture and direction, because that's what appeals to you. So the thing about abstracting reality is that you have to ask yourself, of all the things that I could feature, no painting can feature everything. And I think that's what we start to realize when we look at something like this. It's daunting. Like, I don't know, like, where do I begin, right? That's a common feeling. Like, I love this, but I don't have the technical skills, or I don't have the time, or I don't even want to. A lot of times we don't want realism. We want something that suggests it. So, and then finally, another way to do this would be to, again, another realistic photo. But local color is what you see. Green is green, sky is blue, limbs might be brown, but you kind of throw all that out and you say, no, my sky can be pink. My grass can be green. My cows can be purple. And you just throw out color and you say, because I want it to be about color. But if you chose local color, it'd be a little drab, right? And so that's what Lisa did with that really exciting one.
Yes.
She said no to local color, and automatically can tell. And anyways, everything you guys do, even if it's photorealistic, it's actually still abstracted. Everything we do is abstracted. And a lot of people get confused by thinking that abstraction, I don't know, they might associate it with a certain movement, like the abstract expressionists, but the Impressionists were abstract. The Renaissance painters were abstract. The Dadaists were abstract. The Surrealists were abstract. All art on a 2D surface is abstract by virtue of the fact that it's 2D, and it's not 3D. In life, things are 3D. So to go from 3D to 2D, you've just abstracted it. Okay, so that's number one, you've already done it. So what we're trying to do today is, for each one of us doing this, is to ask yourself, there's a lot of information in reality. Of all that information, are you mostly interested in shape or color, texture, line, direction? Perhaps you want to vary the scale. Perhaps you've got a cow in the background and you want the cow to be blown up and have itty bitty trees around it, right? You can do that. That's abstracting reality. So we're excited that you guys are doing this with us, and we hope you'll join us. We're going to get started. Did we cover everything, Lisa?
I think we did.
She's doing watercolor. I'm doing mixed media. She may do mixed media. We don't know.
Yep.
Okay, guys. So
start our timer.
Yeah, we're going to start the timer, guys. 15 minutes. We're going to work on, like, Lisa and I have 8 boards ready to go. We're going to just start it, and
let's see, we're going to show our hands. Yeah. I don't get to do anything, guys, like this, and I usually do all that.
Right. She's going to be painting today.
Yeah.
Guys. All right. So we're going to be kind of quiet while we work.
Yes.
I might talk a little bit about what I'm doing here. So for me, I'm going to start out, since I have this graphite board, get rid of my mouse for a second. I've got, if you want to work with graphite, and here are my erasers, right? I got out some different erasers, the Mars Plastic, and this one's actually good for, it's kind of rough, and it's good for, say, print. If you got, for those of you doing printmaking, sometimes you might get a smudge or something, and this type of eraser feels kind of coarse. Pink eraser, kneaded eraser, and this is actually the same as this one, and this is really hard, so I think I'll throw that one out. All right, so how would you draw with an eraser? And graphite is a perfect way to do that. Now I've got my source here. Again, this is the basic composition I'm using, and I want to duplicate it and keep the shapes and composition similar, but change the way that I express those shapes. Now that's one way to work in a series, but it's also a great way to get to know, like, what kind of medium do you like best? What are some different treatments? And because they all look so different, that the common thing is the composition, then that's why it's working in a series. So I'm just going to pop that in front of me, take my eraser, and I'm going to start to draw with my eraser. So kind of have to put some pressure on it.
Oh, look, I did Vincent.
Aw, she can show the camera.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know. I just did blind contour of Vincent. He's laying over here, so sweet. Pam's puppies. Now I'm going to paint it.
Now, if you're drawing with an eraser, it is kind of nice to have an edge that feels a bit sharp if you want to get linear. Now, if you don't care about linear, then you might use the broad part of a eraser. But I've got two sets of like mountain ranges here, and the contours don't have to be identical in any way. I'm just getting a feel for what's in this composition, and it's based on shape, because I respond to shape, but I also respond to color. So shape, color, and this is just kind of an example of what you can do with graphite.
Oh, that's so cool.
Very simple to do, right? But no, I'm not saying this is done. This is just like, okay, the first step is use an eraser. And then you can come in with like darker things. I've got these pencils, and I wouldn't have to stay with just black and white, but just for the heck of it and to show that, hey, that's a valid way of working, right? You don't have to have color in everything at all.
Right.
I've got some crumbs on here, my eraser, so I just kind of get those off. And now what I can do is I can play, right? I love line. So what I'm going to do is just almost disregard what I have here and just like I see my erased lines, but I'm going back into the composition and almost just like not pretending that they're not even there. And then you get like this more complex overlap of line, the mountains here. I did this one. And this. Now things just suddenly get a lot more interesting, and I'll show you this in a moment, what I mean. At least I personally feel like this is more fun. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a close-up of what has happened here. There's just some extra dark lines here.
Yeah.
Now, emphasis of line is something I really enjoy. So while I did put darker line, I've now got dark line, I've got light line. And if I take my favorite pencil, which is the 8046 Stabilo, it's aquarellable. You know, you can add water to it, but I want to just emphasize certain like key, they're not even key really. It's just like almost like a pulsing line. I love to do that because it moves the eye and it kind of makes it more interesting. So now what I'm doing is I'm, again, kind of going over these lines, but I'm emphasizing more with it. And I got some little trees here that I can emphasize that I didn't have before. Now these emphasized areas will have a way of, you know, moving the eye throughout the composition. There's not any one focal point here. And that's another thing that, you know, that's a choice. Do you want to have a focal point, or would you rather have the eye meander around your composition? And okay, so now you can see that more of an emphasized areas here. Now can you see how that kind of sets up a bit of a pulse? Your eye can pulse through the composition.
Looks really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And Lisa's doing Vincent, our dog.
You know, he might not stay there. So I had to do him real quick while he was laying there.
Exactly.
And, you know.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of like more fine line. And it's a bit of it's just a line. But it's thinner, it's regular. So I'm kind of setting up pattern, direction, and movement here. And this one little layer just for interest, just because it's repetition with a little bit of variety. Now I'm going to make some of my lines go lighter, and then I'll get darker again. And of course, this is only one part of my composition at the moment, but now you can see how I've added, let's see if I can go closer and closer.
Yeah.
It's right about here. This little layer here.
It's upside down though, I think.
It is upside down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
There we go. So,
there you go.
I don't know if you can barely see it. I'm going to zoom in on just that little area here. Now I'm going to like say to myself, okay, well, I kind of like that, you know, and do I want to do any more of that? Or maybe I want to add some other type of shape or line or pattern. And I don't know. Let's see.
Have to think about these things, right? See how to respond.
Right. And now the erased line, I'm saying to myself right now, the erased line is lighter. What if I want to try and make some of that line even go lighter? See if I can do. First of all, I got to clean my eraser because you know how they get oxidized and hard.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can make some of these areas lighter or thicker. In the same way that I made the dark lines do that. So that helped a little bit, not too much. So let me try. I've got a white. I'm staying with black and white here, and I've got a little, what does it say? Posca, Uni Posca white. I don't even know if this will work, so I'm going to try it. So in the same way that I was using the eraser to pick up, I'm going to kind of look at this composition again. And yes, it does work. I got a little thick. Kind of just, again, coming in here and.
I don't think I'm doing Vincent justice, but that's okay. He's abstract, right?
Right. Beauty of abstract. Don't feel any pressure.
Right. No
and
pressure.
Let's see what time. We've got 6 more minutes, guys.
Oh, gosh.
Right? No time to worry about detail. This is not the time to stress about getting every little branch, leaf, whatever.
Yeah. Hope you guys are working with us, getting some ideas, ready to start on your own if you haven't.
Yeah. All right, so now I'll turn this around and, I'm going to let the ink dry, but you can kind of see how I've added some white lines to this now. And, how far you develop anything is totally personal. Something that may appear as a sketch, which this could easily be a sketch, but what if I said to myself, wow, this is the best thing I've ever done? Fine. Like, it doesn't matter that this is only taking 15 minutes. It's not about how long it took you. In fact, sometimes things that are greatly simplified, they speak to us more because we've had to leave out a lot of things that were not as necessary, and we've done some editing, and that can be cool. Yeah. So I'm going to keep working on this a little bit more just because we have a little bit more time, which, that can be dangerous, right? Because maybe you should just quit. But I'm going to play it a little bit. I was talking about, different things to emphasize. This one is about line, but it's also about value, and then it's about shape. It's not about color, because I don't have, this is all achromatic, meaning there's no color. It's really great to be able to verbalize what you're doing and talk about the design elements, which we have 7 of them. And if you know what you're doing, then you're going to be much more able to simplify things, because you'll be able to say, for this one, I really feel like it's all about color, but this one, it's all about shape. And this one, what really I respond to is the texture. So you have a choice. And as long as you're aware that you have that choice and that you do have to make decisions, I think that's what makes any type of art pretty challenging, is constantly having to make choices and decisions. Right, Lisa?
Yes, absolutely. And I just chose to bring in some orange into Vincent, because after all, he is an abstracted line contour drawing. And
I think his favorite color is orange. I didn't tell you that.
Oh, I just was, getting vibes from him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He also got TREATS from Lisa, and Lisa's his best friend now.
He knew when I was getting stuff out of my bag that it was really for him, and what was taking me so long.
Right. And now Vincent's coming closer, and he's
like,
on my side here.
Mommy.
All right. So I'm just going to show you a little bit more work with value, not a lot, because I sort of like just where it is right now. I'm going to leave it. So leaving something is important. When it speaks to you, leave it. You can always come back to it. I'm going to let this dry. The ink, the white ink is actually white acrylic paint, is now wet. And so I'm going to just let that set up. And I'm going to move on to my next one. The timer, we've got 3 minutes left. So I'm just going to put this aside and let it dry.
Well, and I think I'm about done with Vincent.
All right.
So
Great. I'm going to show
I will just show you all him. And it's a blind contour drawing. So if you're not familiar with blind contour, you don't look down at your pencil. Once you put it on the paper, you just look at your subject and you do the line without lifting. So he's a little misshapen, right? But that's okay.
That's what makes it cool. Yeah.
What it is.
Aw, how
Is it
sweet.
he's sweet.
You can tell his personality. He is Mr. Sweet, you know, he's a sweet dog. So I love that, Lisa.
Yeah, cool. It was fun.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, you guys, and keep going. You've got 2 more minutes if you want to continue on. I'm gonna start my little red one here because I'm kind of inspired. I love red. Yes. That's why I chose it as an undercolor. And here are some things that I'll be using. I'm not going to use erasers this time. I will kind of use the same composition again. And I'm going to use my white because that'll show up against the red. Just shake this up. That's what you do with the pastel markers. And they are, again, acrylic based.
And if you guys are joining us, tell us what you are painting.
Yeah, we'd love to know.
What are you abstracting?
Yeah, what's your emphasis? Is it going to be lines? It's going to be shape, color? Are you doing a landscape? Are you doing figures? Because we can't see what you're doing, much as we'd love to see what you're doing, but we can't. So.
And we want to know. Yeah. Okay. Too much detail. It's okay. It's my first landscape of the day.
Right.
It's okay to have too much detail, right?
So here you can see that I've done basically the very same, not identical, but similar enough to this little thing I did yesterday. It's looking, you know, clouds, mountains. I'm being inspired by these shapes at this point. The underpainting of the red sets up new opportunities for me, and it's automatically become, you know, abstract even now because I'm building on top of this red. And I thought what I would do is like take my crayons and just see kind of what happens when I allow little bits of red to peek through. And I guess I'll just start with this guy, and we're hitting 0 now. So we're going to start again.
Yes.
Okay, so
and look, we've got some people that Giovanna says she is aiming for lines, straight lines, non-local colors. Very good.
Nice.
Susan Warlow is concentrating on line and abstracting asparagus. I love it. Oh, I cannot wait to see pictures of that, Susan.
Yeah. You guys who are in pro, please post your stuff in Facebook even over the next, you know, few hours. Maybe others will join us when they see what you're doing.
Yeah, so much fun.
Okay, and those of you from the Cold Wax painting, sharing, and tips group, go ahead and post in there, and maybe some people will want to join us. It's more fun, you know, the more of us that are doing this. And so I'm coming in with pastel, and you know, the thing about not pastel, these are crayons, Pentel crayons, and the beauty of that is they don't need to dry. They go on smoothly, and a few crumbs, but you know, that's okay. And they're just fun to work with. And let's see here, grab this guy. Not thinking about local color, not thinking that mountains need to be purple or sky needs to be blue. I'm just putting on what I like.
Let's see. I'm going to have to use the blow dryer because, oh, you know what? I'll just go to another one. Well, this one
that's a good idea.
Dries.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's, if you get like tired with one, you guys just move on to the next one, let it dry or whatever. If you get stuck or feel stuck, don't worry about feeling stuck because,
yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. So this is just what I've done so far. You can see how quickly things can move on. And again, this is just crayons. but it doesn't have to dry, and you can kind of block in your shapes pretty quickly. I could mix media. I could use some, say, woody on this, which is a water-based media, so I could actually use that to get more of a wash. Maybe I'll try that.
Cheryl is doing her own thing, focusing on color and line.
Cool.
And Nancy is working on landscape, view from close by beach. Oh, how nice. Rocks, horizon, sky, strata. Cool. She'll try non-local color next. That's what I'm doing now.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Non-local color. Fun stuff.
The thing about these crepe pies, you get crumbs.
Yeah.
So I gotta brush them off, but so I'm letting the white line kind of show through. You can see that I'm just blocking in a little bit here, a little bit at a time. And what's next? We'll go for some gray.
Well, I'm going to vary this one from my last one, I think, and the sky's going to be red. Mm-hmm. Woohoo!
Okay, there's that. And also, like when you work small like this, the nice thing is that, you get an idea and you can work fast and do multiple color schemes and use different materials. And before you scale up, it doesn't hurt, especially if you want to do something more semi-realistic. Like what do you want to do and what do you like the best? And once you find what you really like, then you can more with confidence scale up and not worry, gosh, is this going to even work? Well, you just did some little studies. That's all these really are. And they're fun and they're fast. And you can gather a lot of information about yourself as you do this.
Yes, you do learn a lot, don't you?
Yeah. Do you work small much, Lisa?
Just a little.
Yeah.
Not tons. I do little miniatures every now and then.
True.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now, I'm kind of liking just the red sky, and I'm kind of tempted that, maybe I'll, leave it a red sky. I mean, those are the things. And there's a lot of red peeping through in the other shapes, and the white line is still showing. That was a choice. So I could have chosen a black line or no line at all. I could have chosen just pencil. So in my case, because I love line and mark making, I guess I found a way to add my sense of line. And I think I would leave that white line. What else might I do with this? I mean, the sky is red, but maybe I'll take a little bit of this orange woody and just get a brush wet. Let's see here. Get some water. And this is just acrylic paint here. I'm kind of selectively getting the sky wet around my clouds. So maybe my clouds will remain red. Just wetting around. How's it going, Lisa?
Well, I've got two started. One is your local color here. And I'm waiting for the place to dry for the barn because I want it to be a little more not runny. I'm starting wet into wet. And this is not local colors. And so I've got wild trees and wild red sky and orange grass. And so, yeah, it's going to have to dry too. And I think this one might be dry enough now to put in my barn. No detail. I'm not going to do any detail. Right. I have to tell myself this because otherwise I will.
Yeah. Yeah, the time limit will keep you guys from getting, detailed. This is meant to be a nice warm up on a Monday, getting your week off to a good start. You can say to yourself, wow, I started, 4, 6, 8, a little compositions. And it's no different than taking a morning walk. It's not meant to be any really hard challenge, but it can develop into some beautiful series work.
Yeah.
And so as I'm working with this woody, at first, it went into the water and was kind of thin. And now as the water dries, I'm getting more opacity with the woody. And I'm also getting a little kind of scribbly, which I like. I'm noticing that I guess I have to have my scribbles. So you can kind of see now where I have textured the sky. And because I like that, I respond to that, right? And I don't want that everywhere. It's got to be kind of like, so I might then bring in another color down here, and I have to ask myself, well, what's going to show? If I do the same color, that might work, and I don't want to go too crazy because then it's going to attract attention. So if I bring in a color that's super dark or super light, it'll be high contrast, and then it's going to draw all the attention there. So I don't want to do that. Maybe I'll just stay with a similar color and just make it a little bit more emphasized.
Well, and this is a different perspective from what I did yesterday. So, of course, I would say my thing is shape because I'm really into the curve.
Yes, you are.
And
you were noticing the shape of the roof of the barn.
Yes.
You were noticing that the pickup truck that was halfway parked in the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's shape.
Mm-hmm.
All shapes. So cool.
So, yeah, I think that's what I'm still noticing today is shape, and it is different from yesterday's shape. So now I'm having to think a little differently and catch those things that are there and not there. Yeah.
Right. So now I'm going to grab this. This is a watercolor pencil. I'm just going to, again, I love lines. So I'm going to mess up my clouds a little bit, guys. You can always expect that. She's going crazy with marks again. But, once you know that about yourself, that if things are too neat and too tidy, and in my case, I think that's the problem for me, not problem, but it's an observation. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to beat myself up, you guys, for anything. If I totally screw up and hate what I'm doing, I'm going to say, wow, that's awesome. Because and the reason why it's awesome to screw up and to create something you totally just don't like is because if you have the ability to decipher why you didn't like something, you've just filled up your toolbox with a ton of important tools like, okay, note to self, if you do that again, you're going to have this reaction of not really liking it. So perhaps you should avoid X, Y, or Z, right? But if you put it into words and have a sketchbook where you record these things that either worked or did not work, that is the most valuable thing you can ever get out of anything you ever do in the studio. It's either going to be something you love more or something you love less, something you feel nothing about, but we're going for feeling emotion from our work. So keeping your sketchbook can be for so many things, but if you keep it as sort of a running tally of, your observations, then you can keep referring back to that and say, I'm going to start a big painting. What are some things that I should try and, think about before I do this? It's going to take a lot of materials, a lot of supplies. I want to increase my chances of liking what I do. But the more you paint, the more notes you've got, the more ideas you have, whether they succeeded or failed. And both sides of the coin are equally important. Got 4 more minutes, guys, on your second one. And I'm going to start my third one. And let's see, what should I do next? Got some thunder coming. Well, guys, we hope this will continue on, but if sometimes it wrecks my internet, we'll see what happens.
So stay if we disappear, because if you've been here before, that has happened. And we do come back.
Except
hopefully.
You're usually on a different computer.
Well, that's true.
So
but
I'm not sure.
Surely we'll come back. Give us time.
Yeah, we will. Right. We'll just reboot the computer and then you just have to keep waiting.
Yeah, we'll be back.
All right. All right. This time I'm going to take some. I'm going to do an ink wash just for fun. Okay. So this time I'm going to draw. This is just ink in one of these tiny little bottles. It's Dick Blick Black Cat ink, which is permanent when it dries, which is kind of cool. So again, same composition. I'm going to draw with this little tip and hope that the ink comes out. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. And I can squeeze harder when I want it, to come out more thick, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
What are you going to do next, Lisa?
This one's done, I think. I'm going to keep myself from doing the phone lines, even though, let's see, how do I get that?
That's good. You can just
even though I love the phone lines, that would be more detail. So I'm not going to do it. So I didn't do lines on the roof. I only did lines showing what's holding up the lean-to type things on the side of the barn. So I did good, I think. I feel good about it. Yeah.
Yay.
Less detail.
Notice how Lisa keeps saying to herself, too much detail, not enough. Don't do detail. It's like she has to keep talking to herself to remind that this is not about detail.
That's right.
It's really good to talk to yourself.
That's where I go.
Yeah.
I would go to detail.
Most of us would. We get hung up in the details.
Mm-hmm.
Often, I think.
Okay.
So a bottle like this, guys, is kind of fun because you have control over thick and thin line. And again, just getting that basic shape and composition down. I might have
You're getting good at that.
I don't know about that. But it's water-based, so I'm going to let this bleed a little bit here. Take this brush, let it run where it wants to go. But it's directed, so while it's still wet, I can play. So this one will end up again being initially more about value and edges and perhaps texture, but I could bring in color later. But before I do that, I need to get my overall composition.
Robert, he says he hopes the black cloud doesn't knock out our power. We do too, Robert.
Well, Robert, this is Robert Simmons, yeah. Well, you're probably, if you're in Montana, if you're in Hamilton, Corvallis, and you probably know exactly what's going on.
Yeah,
you may lose us. Who knows what's going on where you are? Okay, so this is kind of fun because I'm getting some very, very dark where the ink came out quite thick. So when you have high contrast between your darks and lights, then that's more about value. And you can, when you work with color, your color can either be like super high contrast. Okay, now we're going to start the next one, guys. So number 3, right, Lisa?
Yep, I'm on number 3.
So when you work with color, you have a choice of a lot of choices because that's what makes color so complex, is that you can be more interested in the color itself. That's the hue. You can be more interested in the intensity of the color, which means kind of straight out of the tube, those beautiful, bright, saturated colors. Or maybe you're mostly interested in the value of color. You like color, but you also like to vary the value because color has 3 attributes. So that is one reason why color can be a little bit more complex and you have more choices to make. That's all. And that's why all the design elements, probably color asks you to make the most decisions, but value is so important in moving the eye around. And so right now, this has a lot of value contrast. Little areas that you leave in a composition, like let's say you're working on white paper or gessoed surface or whatever it might be, and you're starting to cover the surface, but there are a lot of little white areas that maybe are peeking between your shapes, or they're little bits. Those little bits are usually pretty high contrast because of what's around them, and they can kind of distract. So it's good to be aware of where your high contrast areas are, because that's where your eye is going to go. How's that going? Yay. You're totally away from local color now.
Yes, and very much
Awesome.
abstract, hardly any details at all, really. So
How's that feel? Good?
Yeah, it's actually a little nervous for me.
Is it? Because you're not used to doing this. Well, that's good too.
Yeah, because this is going farther.
Yeah, right. And I think that's wonderful, knowing that you're kind of like, you're really, this woman is a storm chaser. There's nothing that she won't try. And she's got a lot of courage. She enters a lot of jury shows and gets a lot of awards. And, that just takes courage. Well, she's a storm chaser.
Yeah.
So if she disappears, she's chasing our storm.
That's right.
She's grabbed the pickup and she's on her way.
Yep, don't get too many of these in Seattle. I miss them.
So when you do something and you're like, okay, like for example, what I do like it's good to go on both sides of the coin. Like, what do you like and what you don't like? So for me, what I like is the washiness of it. Like I do like ink washes, and that's great. What I don't like about it is the value pattern right now. I've got a lot of dark on this side of the composition, and down here, they're like one's right above the other. I've got this little dark up here, and it can be about value. But if I want this to be about value in part, I need to adjust the values because currently they're not working for me. It lacks balance, and it's a little heavy on one side of the painting. And because of gravity, your eye wants to usually see darks toward the bottom of a composition of a landscape, especially if your darks are on top. You can do that intentionally if that's what you want to do, but it won't feel as comfortable to look at. So what I need to do now is let this guy dry and then come back to it later because it's wet. Ooh. And I know that when it's dry, I'll be able to do more with it. And here comes our thunder and our rain.
Yeah. And Carmen Hill asked, she says, you're so organized when you create, she's messy. Mm-hmm. Do you think that impacts the outcome?
Well, sometimes it's good to clear the space where you're working. I do think it's very helpful with the way to respond quickly and to react to the painting in a way that the more organized your space is, the more you can focus on what your painting is telling you. If you're like, well, where's this and where's that? And I have to step over these power chords and then I have to, go and find my ruler because I don't remember where I left it. Those things can be really impactful in your flow. So in my case, and for Lisa too, for today, we spent almost all day yesterday preparing for today. We got our papers prepared, we got our brushes prepared, we had to figure out where the camera's going to be, where our drawn line down the middle is, get out our timer, the hair dryer. Yeah. So I think that's a great question, Carmel, but in general, each person will be different. Like Francis Bacon, he could have cared less about how organized he was, right? And he did amazing work. So I think it comes more down to personality, don't you, Lisa?
Oh yeah, totally. Because I'm usually messy. I don't usually have this much organization, but because we're on camera and we're together side by side, we had to think about this. So yeah, and there are varying factors just like that being together here, right? Exactly. So it's fun.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some collage, and I've got my Liquitex matte medium. And what I'm working with for my collage paper is semi-transparent papers, which I've made myself. And let me just get some of those out. Keeping the palette simple for now. These are my very thin papers, and this is done on tracing paper with, as you can see, a very light wash of acrylic. I've got only two colors here. There's some blue, and then I've got some lines, which I don't know if those will come into play or not. I have many more papers, but again, getting back to that question of organization, I didn't want to have too many things in front of me. I just wanted to have a few things. So now I could draw the composition first, and I don't think I will. I think I'm just going to lay down some of these thin papers, and I'm thinking that I know, the composition will be similar, just like all the others, because that's it's a decision I've made ahead of time. I'm just going to kind of activate the surface here with my collage material. Once that dries, I will be able to come in with whatever, more marks, more shapes, more colors. But I'm just laying down a few collage papers. And I'm working on illustration board. It's one of my favorite mixed media surfaces. I'm working small, obviously, because of time and space, but illustration board is good. This is like a 16-ply Strathmore 300 series, I think, or 500 series. I don't know. I forget. But what I like about it is that it just won't warp. And what I like about this type of collage paper is that it's very thin and you can get the wrinkles out. You just put like the matte medium below it and above it. And you have like a squeegee tool or one of these silicone brushes, they call them. And you're getting out all the little wrinkles of the paper. Yeah, we're getting torrential rain, guys. I don't know what you're getting where you are. Tell us what's going on where you are if you have a moment.
Let's see. Shiloh's been cleaning her studio table because she wasn't ready. Well, that's good. You'll be ready then.
Yeah.
And Bonnie wants to know, did you gesso the illustration board first?
No, I didn't. And I guess this is not wood, right? Strathmore board is definitely acid-free and all those good things. And, you know, if it was a wood base, I'd say, yeah, then you'd probably want to gesso. That's a great question, though. Okay, so now I'm going to take like basically the same color. And when you overlap these very transparent papers, you're going to see a value change. And the more times you layer it, you know, it can be kind of cool. So you won't see it until I get this on there, but let me just,
Boy, I tell you what, I am having the hardest time not doing detail. Isn't it funny? I start and then I just end up detailing.
I think a lot of us tend to do that, though. Like I would do that too.
Yeah.
That's why the timer is really important.
Yeah, I think I need mine set to 5 minutes.
I think you might have said that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I think you said, how about 1 minute?
Yeah.
It's like, Lisa,
I knew.
I can't do that. I'm sorry, but I'm not that bad.
I knew I would have trouble. Yeah.
So I'm just smoothing this down at first with my finger. And now you can see the value difference. It's not much, but then again, I want it to be subtle in the beginning, but you can kind of see a strata forming, and that's kind of what a landscape is a strata type composition. And no matter what the paper is doing, what I do later with my line and colors and shapes can be completely different. But now I've got an interesting under painting or under collage to work on.
It is looking very nice. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun sometimes to work on a surface that you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I've got mine except for the barn again. I have to let it dry. And so, you know, looking at it upside down, it does look abstract. I'm being hard on myself. So it's not too bad. My trees.
These are lovely washes.
Yeah, not bad at all. So I'm gonna not be hard on myself.
Good, Lisa.
So yeah, you guys, don't be hard on yourself. And even in this abstracting reality, we can get hard on ourselves, right?
We usually do.
Yeah. So if you need to set a shorter timer, do that.
Yeah.
And you know, do what helps you. That's what we learn, right?
Right. It's more about process anyways. It's more about just trying to, you know, what you're doing when you experiment with different mediums is you're trying to find a medium where the process is enjoyable for as much of the time as possible. If you're hating a medium because you just can't stand having to wait for it to dry, for example, then, you know, maybe working in oils is not going to be your best medium, or maybe you don't mind that because you need more time to, maybe you're working on multiple things at a time. And so nothing is wasted in your studio. Right. Everything you do is valuable.
And this time I'm starting dry surface.
Nice. Cool.
Something different, right?
Yeah. I like that.
Still going to stay local colors. I might do the next one dry with non-local colors. So we'll see. forgot my mountains, so they're not going to go in. Not going back, not making changes.
Oh, thanks, Bonnie. She likes the overlapping papers. And this little paper, you can't really see it too well, but you can see it has my little white marks on it. And then you can barely see it, but again, they're there. And they will be very subtle here. Okay,
and this is what, maybe 5 by 5? 6 by 6,
6 by
something
6,
like that?
I think so.
And so I'm using a 1.5 inch brush, I think is about the size of it. So that helps too. If you guys find yourself, too tight, get a bigger brush. So I'm not using my little itty bitty one. See the difference? I had been using this one. I'm not going to pick it up.
Right. Good point. And if you have one bristle on your brush, your nose is probably an inch away from the surface. And we encourage you guys to get a bigger, bigger.
Right.
Yeah, less control will mean you worry less. If you're kind of a control type person and you're trying to loosen up, then take control away. Use your non-dominant hand, get a dowel rod and make your paintbrush handle longer.
Yes.
And you'll find that as you start to not be able to control every single thing that's happening, that you start to feel, looser and better and happier. And that's for people who just want that. I mean, if you like to have more tight and controlled, then that's great. It's good to know that about yourself.
It is.
So, this is just a simple under layer. Notice I'm working pretty quickly. You can get stuff down. Like it would have taken me a long time to get this type of layered approach if I'd done it straight with just the paint. And so I'm finding that the collage material will help me move faster and get to where I want to go.
Well, Pam, I'm having fun doing non-dominant hands since you mentioned it.
There you go.
Yep.
Take that
It's
control
hard.
away. It's hard to blame yourself when you're not using your dominant hand. It's like if you spill your food and you're using your non-dominant hand, you're not going to be as critical. Right? It's like, oh my gosh, I just spilled all my food.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And I don't have to wait on this one to dry because I did it dry,
Cool.
wet on dry. So
I'm going to put this one aside and let that one dry. To just remember all the ones I have here. And where's our clock?
I was going to say, is it still going?
21 seconds. 20 seconds.
Well, it's good that it goes off, even though I'm not exactly doing it with it.
Yeah.
We have it to help us. Okay, this is going to be hard doing the little barn with a big brush, but I can do it.
That's right. Less control.
Less control, and it's going to be okay.
Hey guys, we're starting on the next one. I don't know which one it is yet, but it's just another 15-minute period.
That's
so
right.
Start on another one and just try to, you can just put the other one aside. If you want to return to it later, that's fine. But it's good just to get into the feeling of moving quickly through an exercise. And this is an exercise. Great Monday morning exercise.
Yes, very good.
Let's see this.
Oops, too much.
Okay, the next one I'm going to do is either do woodies or crepe paws. Let's see here. Grab this.
Okay.
So I've got this one that has interesting lines, and I love how quirky it is, and I actually love it just the way it is. But it is like an under drawing, even though it was done with collage paper that actually had these lines on them, and I just kind of overlap the paper. So Mac Carr, late but glad to be here. You're from Alabama. Welcome. Wonderful to have you here. And Nancy McFay says, cold here from hot to the past few days to chilly. Yeah, right? That does make it challenging. Don't know what to wear. You're changing your clothes all day. Okay, so how do I want to do this?
That one's fun.
Yeah, I gotta think, how do I want to do this one? This is mostly linear at the moment. And I'm going to
Okay, I'm leaving out all the details, guys.
Good. Yeah.
I'm not even going to draw on the...
What's your saying? Make it and leave it. No.
Lay it and leave it. Don't try to correct anything. Don't try to take a paper towel to anything, just lay it and leave it. So that's what I did. It's not perfect,
Right.
but it is so abstract. I just left out so many of the details this time.
Yeah.
And I think I've definitely accomplished something. Maybe I've turned a corner.
Yeah. It's not easy to do that though.
No.
But you know, the work you did yesterday and then today, it's like there are a lot, like I can see a progression of movement in these. Like number one, you are loosening up. You're not as worried. You know, you're not beating yourself up. Yesterday she's beating herself up a lot. And so I'm really happy that she's not beating herself up.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that. Okay, so what do I want to do with this? I'm starting to envision how this is what kind of happens too. I'm looking at these two guys and thinking to myself, okay, currently black and white, but what if this one where I took the black ink and you know, the washes are what define the shape. The shapes have not been collaged on, they haven't been painted with thick opaque paint. And what I like about the ink washes is you can see through them. And so I'm starting to think, well, what if I had ink washes over this? I would have to keep I might want to keep the washes rather light, but maybe that's my first step. And anything that's just black and white can turn into, you're establishing a value pattern, and anything that's black and white can move into color later. Like I had a painting one time that was really large. It all started in black and white, and only at the very end, like the last, you know, like if you looked at his lifespan as 10 years, is only in the last like 5 months that I went into color. And that painting has a bit of color now. So there's no harm in working in black and white, because what you're doing is you're establishing a value pattern, and you can accept it or reject it at any time. So I'm going to just take my little ink guy again. Now the difference then with this one is I already have an underline drawing. I'm going to take my little plunger out and composition.
I hear Vincent snoring. He's so cute.
He does, yeah. So I'm adding more line to this. If you guys are enjoying this, please like the live video. It helps others know that you had a good time, and we'd like more people to join us. It's more fun. This is going to be a lot of line here. Clouds.
Uh-oh. It's okay. I'm leaving it. Doesn't matter. Got kind of wild.
We like wild.
Yeah.
So now you can see that this has gotten so complex that, you know, there's nothing here, right? Like right now it's a bunch of lines. And while I like just that, it's fine. It's like a exercise, but now I want to move it into that idea of composition. So again, I'm going to work into this with a wet brush, and hopefully get some movement here with my line.
Oops, I dripped. Don't want to drip. There. Well, y'all, this one's kind of crazy, but it's more abstract. So this is awesome. You know, it's not about, is it a major piece of artwork? It actually could end up being. I mean, how many pieces of stuff did people do? And you think, wow, that's really awesome how he let go, you know? And it's a barn, though. You can tell, right? A barn and trees and a barn lot.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And the point is, maybe you don't like it at the moment, but you'll like it more the more you work on it. And this is just the first stage.
Yeah. And it is abstracting reality.
Right.
So, and my point is to let go. It was color, it was shape. Now it's to let go, because detail is a crutch for me. And I can get to where I am, just like what Pam said, with a little one hair brush and magnifying glass and doing the details. I have the magnifying glass light, you know? So yeah, I do.
Amazing.
Yeah. So this is not what I want to do for this. I want it to be a barn shape, a tree shape, a mountain shape.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, knowing that you want to get away from detail means you get rid of those 1-inch brushes or the one bristle brushes.
Hair brush. That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They have a place if I'm doing a miniature for a competition,
Right.
but not for this.
Right. So now I'm playing with the value here by just lifting some of the ink, playing with these washes.
Thank you, Indu. Yes, letting go. Kathleen, she says, what you're doing is more like abstract drawing, which is an obsession, maybe different subject.
Cool. Yeah.
Shelley says it's great to start a Monday morning. Hello from Scottsdale.
Nice.
Indu likes your abstract piece. Hi, Marie.
Aw.
Again,
Hi, Marie.
she's enjoying and listening to the considerations.
Cool.
Shiloh says she's so glad we're showing her so many different processes and mediums. It's helpful.
Good.
Yeah, I'm doing watercolor in case you're late. You can probably tell though. And Pam is working in different things. So she is having a blast.
I am. I'm just having fun.
Okay. I think I'm tired of the barn.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to stay with the same subject.
Yeah.
I decided to do that just because, because I'm switching medium, but you're staying with the same medium, so you could actually try anything you want.
Yeah.
Cool.
Where are those printouts? I'm gonna look at
They are
here. That one on top, is that the back side of the one you're doing?
It could be. Yeah, this one? Yeah, that's actually the one. So it was a crazy line, and it still is, but you can see that by letting some of these washes become larger as they dry. What I'm setting up really is the value pattern, and I don't have to accept it. I can still obliterate. Those of you who are in pro and we've been doing the expressive drawing things where we obliterate. Easy to come into this with acrylic paint or white ink and obliterate some of these darker areas. I'm going to keep playing with this line though. And let's see here. And the ink is starting to set up, so now it's not bleeding as much, which is good. I like the difference in value.
It's helpful when that happens, isn't it?
It is, yeah. All depends on your environment, how warm, how humid, right? Maureen, I hope you can see the chat now. She said she was having a hard time seeing chat. I don't know why.
Sometimes things are just glitchy, right?
Right.
Okay. Doesn't have to be like the photo either, does it?
No, that's a lovely wash. Wow,
There you
that's
go.
beautiful. At this point, it could be anything.
That's right.
Beach, landscape, other type of
Trying
landscape.
to, well, I should use my left hand because man, is it hard not to do detail. I'm switching gears, guys.
Non-dominant.
Yep, I'm doing non-dominant hand, and I'm doing this cliff side that Pam talked about, which has lots of texture. So that's fun. I do love texture. Hi, Vincent.
So this is how that crazy line drawing at least has some sort of a reference to the landscape. And I actually like this level of abstraction. So you can think of how abstract you want to go with, you know, there's a subtle reference to reality. There's a literal reference to reality. There's, you know, maybe it's reality, but that you've changed all the colors. And you just make the viewer work a little bit harder, including yourself, when you don't make it too obvious. And Kathleen Demosthenes says that is more like abstract drawing. Oh, right, you already said that. Indu Shah. Yeah, Lisa. Yes, letting go. It's great to have you, Indu. All right. Maxine is from Wellington, Delaware. Awesome, guys. Okay, now let's see if anything here has dried out. Got my black one. Try this guy. And how are we doing on time? 1 minute and 20 seconds left.
Hey, maybe I'll be done with this one then. That'd be good because I'm not needing to do details. To do self-talk. It's okay to do self-talk.
Right.
Pam's getting used to me talking to myself.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, I'm gonna take. Eight seconds. Because we're kind of working on multiple pieces at a time.
Yeah, except I did just start this one, so. But it's okay, right?
Yeah.
I'm almost done with it, so. Woohoo.
All right, this one, I think I'm going to use Woody's. And I only have a couple colors here because I'm keeping kind of a simple palette, which means I kind of want to start with these dry on dry. A little different quality than a crepe has. Oh, just for the time.
So this one I did some scraping lines in it because it's rocks. So when that dries, it'll look a little different.
Cool.
But I did this picture.
Rocky
and
Coast.
I tried to just do the shape of the sky and the shape of the water and then the total shape of the rocks and then the trees. So sky, water, rocks, trees. So that's only 4 shapes in all if you're thinking about it in that terms. So do you think it looks like the
That's really great. Yeah,
is it right side up? I can't tell if it's right
so
side
you've
up.
got, sorry.
I can't tell.
I think you've got, what am I doing?
I don't know. What am I doing?
That's water.
There.
Oh,
Okay, so that's together. It's so hard to look at upside down.
Yeah.
So I think it looks like it, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
How about
And
that?
you're interested in shape.
Uh-huh.
So you're going
Yeah.
with it.
I was doing shape.
Nice.
Awesome. I hope you guys are trying it. Let's see. Have I gone to the coffee cup yet for pie?
Not yet. Who's asking?
Patricia and Jeff, Brian and Crow.
Okay, guys. So, I have not taken Lisa to coffee cup yet, but maybe we'll have to do that. We've been like working hard in the studio.
Yes.
Lisa was doing encaustic monotypes yesterday. And how many did you do?
Oh,
4?
4, yes.
Man, yeah.
Yes, and they were so fun, you guys. I have to say, if you ever do encaustics and have the opportunity to do monotypes, give it a try because it's really fun.
Those of you guys in Pro, I posted several videos yesterday in case you didn't see them. You can see her work and you can see her coming into the studio. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm still doing the woodies, and the woodies have more covering power, I'm noticing, than the craypas did.
Oh.
And I never would have known that, but on top of black, the craypas did not have as true color because they weren't as opaque. The woodies, on the other hand, are true. Now they have wax in them just like the craypas do, but the color shows better with woodies than with craypas. And I can show you the difference here.
Oh, yeah.
This one, you can see more of the red underneath it, right? So similar compositions, but more of the one with the black has the woodies. The one on the warm one is the craypas. Unlike paint, when you work with dry mediums like the woodies or craypas or watercolor pencils or anything else, you know what you get is what you get in the set. You can't do a whole lot with blending. Some mediums are easier than others, but I guess I think what that does in some ways is it gives you the feeling for like what does solid color feel like, and you can still, in this case, I could put some turquoise over the blue and some blue over the turquoise and get a little bit of like blending or the feeling of like what the Impressionists did when they juxtapose one color next to the other and you get a color vibration. But it offers you the opportunity to, unlike paint, to see what solid color feels like. So I'm going to do then put some blue over the turquoise and some turquoise over the blue. Orange over the pink. Looks like it stopped raining, Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay. And I could even combine some crayons with the woody, probably. Let's see, kind of cool. How about this one?
I need to get up for a minute. I'm going to walk.
Yeah. It's hard to sit, you guys, all this time. Maybe some of you are standing.
I'm used to have in my comfy chair.
Oh.
Not that the stool isn't comfy. Oh, we still got a little bit of rain.
Okay. So you can kind of see how this is developing in terms of just simple color and let's see, Pam Meyer, I'm only seeing a small portion of what you are currently working on, but see the finished work and materials. I'm wondering if this was what everyone sees, or could camera be shifted? I think you guys could give us some additional feedback. Right now, Pam, what I'm showing is this black, I'm showing a black painting. It's only like 5x7 or something like that. Trying to show you like the color and a little bit of gloss of the woody crayon. So you can let us know. Okay, so Carmel says she's seeing all of us, and Milika says she's standing. Good for you, Milika. Using oil pastels, making a real mess, but it's fun. Good. And Bonnie says, I like the black peeking through the solid woody color. Yes, I do too, Bonnie. And okay, now Pam has full screen. Yay. Okay, Bonnie, thank you. Camera angle looks good to you. Thank you guys for all of your feedback, because that's really very helpful. We don't know always what you're seeing. And let's see here. Great, Nancy. Thank you for letting us know. Okay, now I got to deal with my sky. And although my mountains are bluish, the river is green. My ground, foreground and middle ground are pink and orange. What do I want to do with my sky? And the value, like if I were to convert this into black and white, not including the black that has not been covered up yet, it'd be very close in value. So this piece is about color. It's not about value. And I just wanted to emphasize that. Now I can move into crayons into these other portions, because the crayons is perfectly compatible with these stabilos, which is kind of a nice thing. And I think I'll take this, and this will be kind of lighter.
Oh, pretty. Love those colors.
It's fun with the black. These colors underneath are fun. And I have thought about when I work on canvas now to start with a ground that's not just white, but like even the one I have that's gray. I still have not worked on that yet. I think next Monday I will. I haven't had time, but I think I'll work on that one. And yeah, so we'll see. Okay, there's that. So there's a little bit of that color. Let's see.
Okay, so I'm trying to decide. I'm not doing local color. I'm doing red for my trees and purple for my water. Ooh, so my rocks are tan and gray. So that's kind of boring, but I can't decide. Okay, I guess I could just do green for the rocks. That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
You can do anything you want.
That would be weird. I was trying to think of what would be weird.
Or if you think of the opposite of what it is. So if it's leaning toward orange and yellow, the complements would be blue or purple.
Yeah, except I have that in my water because that's just where I went.
But blues? That's kind of a lavender.
Yeah. You're right. I could do blue. Yeah, blue.
It's just going to abstract.
You're right. Yes. Very good.
It's kind of hard to break away from reality.
Yes, even though I didn't do blue for water, I couldn't think that I could actually do blue for rocks.
It's like you have to give yourself permission. It's
the
strangest thing.
So weird. So strange. We get stuck in reality, don't we?
Yeah, it's like we don't want to let go. This is weird. I've got a silver woody. Have you ever used a silver woody?
Well, I think I have one, but I don't know if I've used it.
I know. Okay, here goes. It's gonna go. It's gonna go. Maybe my clouds will be silver. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
The cloud with the silver lining.
Ooh, I like that.
It just occurred to me. And it's a Monday, so that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how functional I am on a Monday. So I always feel like no matter what I do during these lives, and now that Lisa's here too, it's like, hey, we showed up, we did something on Monday.
That's right.
And it just sets the whole week into momentum.
Yes.
I've been having fun. if you guys are finding that too, like if you're finding that you're getting a lot more done when you show up on these lives, please share that, because we really want to know if this is helping you. That was the whole idea, is to all of us do this together so that we can encourage each other and have fun with each other and just get the ball rolling.
That's right.
Okay, what medium am I currently using? Cats and Diego. I am currently using Woody's on the bottom portion here. I'll show you. This is, you can kind of see the glisten of the wax in the Woody's. There's more wax content in the Woody here as I change the angle of the board. There's a bit of a sheen, and I actually like that. Now, up here in the clouds, it's a silver Woody, and then I now have in my hand a Cray-Pause. But now that I see that glossiness, I may not want to use go into Cray-Pause, because I kind of like that sheen, you know?
Yeah.
And so maybe what I'll do is take this lighter color. The thing about Woody's is you don't get a wide range of values or colors, so you just use what you use, whatever you have. So I am going to go peach in my sky. And I've had these Woodies for so long, like, I don't know, at least 10 years, and they last forever.
They do.
And I do list all of my favorite materials, surfaces, tools, equipment, even some photography equipment on my resource page. Anybody wants to just check it out. It's artandsuccess.com/resources. I try to update it, but since COVID, like sometimes you'll click on a link and it'll be like, this cannot be found. And that's because of COVID. Some things just aren't being made anymore. Unfortunately. Yeah. It may come back, but you just don't know.
That's right. Keep checking. And sometimes there is a replacement. If you look on Amazon, they'll say, this is available. This is, you know, this is similar, and it's the exact same thing.
Right.
So that's always helpful. Let's see here. I do need to put some. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Very abstract.
Fun. Oh, look how fun that is, though. That's great. You got the texture of your rocks that you loved.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yep. So here it is in non-local colors.
Fun, Lisa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very abstract. You don't.
Very original, very personal, and like unique, and all the things that you want from your art, right, guys?
Right. And you know, you could turn it upside down. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't necessarily look like this now, right?
Yeah.
Granted, that's what I was doing, but because I chose non-local colors, it's just super interesting to see and turn it around and what have you got. So what a great way to start an abstract painting.
Yeah, guys, we're like an hour and a half into this, and we only have a half an hour left. Is that right, Lisa?
Can that be right?
Man, we've been working
Oh,
hard,
wow.
guys.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to have 8 paintings.
There. Hey, Lisa.
How about
Good
that?
for you. Guys, it's like, who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys showed up. You're here. You're doing it. Nothing better than that.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Carol. Yeah, they're super fun. And you know what I'm finding, even though I've switched, you know, yesterday I did that perspective of the barn that was straight on, and today I did the kind of angular sideways perspective, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. You know, I did get more abstract as I went, and you know, so now I got bored with that, and I changed to another one, and I believe, because I did so many of the other, I was able to start more abstract here, you know, let go of the detail easier because I'd already been painting and letting go. Yeah. So even though I switched subjects, I really do think that it's helped, Pam.
Awesome. Yay, Lisa.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not one to paint things over and over. So this is really a huge thing for me.
Wow, I'm so happy.
Yeah, I'm rebellious. I admit it.
Yeah.
You knew that, didn't you?
Well, she's a tough cookie, guys. We like tough cookies.
Yeah.
And, for those of you who are in the Art Success Masters and Pro, I just want to put this out there that this is the type of thing to expect us to be doing as demos inside of Pro only. It won't be on YouTube, but we will be, like I'll be demonstrating Masterclass 1 or Masterclass 2 if it's line. I'll be working on a painting that features line, for example, but we'll also be offering some other challenges or suggested ways for you to push line in a way you had not, ever thought of doing it before. And the whole idea of everything we do in Art Success Masters is to get us to be open to new ways of thinking and doing, to keep things fresh and lively and not get bored, because boredom is pits, right?
Yes.
We don't like boredom. Okay, guys, so this is my little landscape, and I'll just
so fun.
It's just fun. Yeah, it's kind of fun to see, like, when you do keep the same composition and you explore different colors, how that can feel. And this one is so different. I like this one because it is so different.
Yeah,
but
those
there
lines.
are similarities to the composition. And then this one over here. Again, just kind of showing you two at a time.
Oh, you want me help?
Thanks. I got it, I think. Just two at a time. And now that this one's dry, I think I can work back into that one.
Oh, is that the graphite?
Yeah, that's just the graphite.
Oh, that's turning out amazing.
I might just leave that one.
I love the variation, the white, the gray, the black,
thank you.
then the other midtones of gray. So cool.
It's so easy though, guys.
Yeah,
Like
the eraser white looks so amazing under.
It's kind of blurry.
It's great.
As opposed to these crisp lines. You're right, Lisa. That's what it did. It gave a variation. So let me just line these up so far. And you guys may have done several by now. We wish we could see them, but if you guys are able to post in our Facebook group, we'd love to see what you're doing. And these are the 4 that I've done so far. But
so cool.
See, clouds. Yeah, similar orientation. But look at how different the value pattern is. This one being the highest contrast is the one your eye goes to first, right? Because it's all about value is much more noticeable than color. And then maybe the next one you see for me is this one, because it's more higher saturation. And then this one, this one, and then this one. I don't know about you, Lisa.
Yeah.
And then there's this one, but this one's not as far along. It has a ways to go. Oh, and then this one has nothing. It's still drying. So I might have to mute the camera for a second and let it
go blow dry.
Yeah. Let me just grab a mouse. There it is.
Mouse.
Okay, we're gonna mute while I dry this off real quick, guys.
Okay. Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, so I've dried this little guy, a little warped, but you can always bend it back again, or like just to the back side. This is just my illustration board. So these are all done on illustration boards. So I'm going to just move these away. And now got a couple more to go.
You want me to dampen the back of that with some clean water?
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Okay.
Thank you, Shiloh. I'm glad that you like seeing, hopefully you can hear us now. I'm glad you like seeing the different mediums and treatments. Again, keeping the composition constant, changing the medium, the way you approach it. That's, one way that Toph suggested to work in a series. He suggested 2 different ways. One was to have the same composition, different treatments. The one was similar treatment, varying composition, varying the theme. And so I just did one of those, which was to keep the same composition, whereas Lisa, in one of her cases left, has the barn, and that is a series because they're all about the barn pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But now she's varying her theme, but keeping the same treatment, which is watercolor. She's chosen to work in watercolor. Yeah, cool. Okay, so this guy, my strata with the collage paper, I think that, are you using the second palette? Can I have a second palette of watercolor? Only because, thank you. Great. So I'm going to grab this other watercolor palette. I used to do watercolor a long time ago. Haven't done it in ages, but I'm just going to try to play with some. First, I'm going to take some line. I'm going to take my pencil again, Stabilo 8046, and do the composition, staying with that theme.
You guys can hear us again, right?
Yeah.
I actually love the motion of the water in this photo.
Nice.
Really drawn to that. When you held it up earlier,
Right?
if for some reason it didn't hit me yesterday when we were looking at stuff, but
Sure.
today when you held it up at the camera, you know how it is when you see things in the camera.
That's right.
Then you're like, oh, I want to do that.
So I've just drawn over the collaged little mini guy here with collage paper with water-soluble pencil. I'm going to go over it with some watercolor washes and see what happens. Let's see, I'm going to go for some of this.
Same color. I was trying to do red. I got sidetracked.
That's funny.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I might put red on it. Still not red. Oh, isn't that fun?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty color. Pretty color red.
Yeah, I've been dipping my brush into all 3 over here. It's just really pretty, the colors you have in your palette. Let's see, Arachami. Hi, Arachami. Which one are you doing? Same treatment, varying the theme. She was painting and missed it. Love to both of us.
That would be you.
No, I think it was yours.
I'm not varying the theme.
You're not varying the theme?
Yeah, I have all the same composition, but now you're varying the theme. You had barn, and now you're going into the rocks.
I did 2 different perspectives of barn, Arachami, if you're talking about me. And this was the one that I did yesterday. And then today's varied.
Lots of examples.
Yeah, different perspective. I've done several. And then now I've just done this, which is the rocks with the water, and really enjoying that because it doesn't look like rocks and water. It just looks like something abstracted. So it's lots of fun. I'm really enjoying it. Helping me loosen up, Arachami. see. I need that squirt bottle. You need a squirt bottle?
No, I'm good. Thanks. Beautiful thing about watercolor is you can really vary between opacity and transparency.
Yes.
That's something I learned from Toph Shank. For those of you who know about Toph, is in his book, Mastering Color and Design. He really goes into a lot of detail and depth with examples, not just his own work, but many other artists' work about, opacity versus transparency. And I think it was his book that really opened my world. And
Yeah.
so he's been very influential in my entire painting life. And for those of you who've listened to any of those studio topics with Toph, if you're enjoying it, let us know. I know it's not for everybody, to see another artist, especially one who's not completely non-objective. Not that, we're not all about non-objective art or anything like that, but some people feel that perhaps, so if you're enjoying Toph, please let us know, because we'd like to know your feedback.
So Rashmi said, what makes it the same thing?
Okay, so Rashmi, I'll show you in a second once I get a little bit further on this one. By the same theme, what I mean is one way to do a series is to keep the almost identical composition, and I'll show you in a second how I have kept pretty much the same composition throughout today's episode here. Episode, is it 5? I think, yeah. We're in episode 5, and I'm changing color, I'm changing mediums, those things are changing, but the basic composition is staying the same. And so in a second, I'm going to show you that. Let's see, let's see, what have I got here?
Having so much fun. It's all about texture. I mean, granted, the color, but the texture is just really being able to just tap this brush down and, the different directions and how cool it looks. I'm just really trying to stay away from any kind of shape, really.
Well, I love how you're just having fun.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing of all, right? Okay, so now I'm also trying to stay away from local color. It's not that I don't like a blue sky, but I want to show that you can abstract it. Okay, so now we're probably getting close to our last 2 paintings, right, Lisa?
Yeah, it is 1:45.
Okay, so at least you might get one more in, guys. And we are, Arachmi, since you came in later, we are timing this just to keep ourselves from getting too deep in the weeds here.
Liz says, Pam, don't drink the coffee.
I know.
It does look like coffee, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, and you better tell me that. I probably would do that.
Cheryl says she loves Toph. It's wonderful to gain so much artistic knowledge. He is excellent. And
thank you, Lorene and Cheryl. Thank you, guys.
Lorene says, awesome. We're so privileged to have his knowledge. Yes, I feel so privileged myself. He is amazing.
Let's see. So Rachmi says, sorry, not the same composition, the same treatment is what I am not seeing here. Same treatment. Right. Lisa's doing the same treatment, meaning that she's using watercolor, one medium, whereas I'm switching all kinds of mediums. So I would say I'm not, using the same treatment. I didn't even realize how much we are kind of doing the 2 different ways to do the series. Good, right? It kind of worked out well that way.
It is fun.
I didn't really plan it that
No.
So I did my my lines here with a water soluble line, and so when it catches the watercolor, you can see how it can smear a little bit. You either like it or you don't. It's looking more like a Heath crown.
Ooh, nice.
But this is the watercolor, and it got a little dark on this side.
That was the
collage material
collage,
underneath.
yeah.
Yeah. But just because there's collage material, the watercolor is going to act in a different way.
Yeah. That's
So what
right.
haven't I done so far? Did the ink wash collage with the trace, favorite crepe pause. Woody line collage,
Maxine
graphite,
thought it was
paper,
coffee.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not sure what I didn't do yet.
Yeah, when I told my watercolor instructor that I've always had, she's just amazing. And I told her that we were, I asked her if she knew who Toph was. And she says, oh my gosh, she's a legend.
Yeah, he is.
And yeah, so I feel very, very privileged.
Yeah, he's 86 now, guys. And he has just got such a great ability to decipher all kinds of information. He's an art historian. He knows so much about art history, and it's really been fun. Okay, so I guess I'll go total mixed media on this guy. So what do I want to do? Am I over my line?
No, you're fine.
Making sure.
You're fine.
Not impinging.
I'm doing pretty good here in my
Yes,
little
you are.
space.
Yes, you are.
Usually I spread out, but I want this one to dry. I don't want to blow dry.
Okay, I'm going to use this one is a Crink. Crink. It's like an acrylic pen with a finer point. It'll dry faster than the black cat ink. That's why it's like a marker. So I'll do this one here.
I think I want to do a marker. What's this? It's fat.
It's just clearly a marker. It's kind of an acrylic.
Faber-Castell.
Right. Yeah.
Do they have to be shook?
I don't think that one does. No, that might have a brush on the end.
Ooh, fun. Yay.
Okay, she likes brushes. I personally think I respond more to geometry than the curvilinear, but I like to have both for variety, but I tend to think in terms of having at least some geometry somewhere. So now the black is down,
and how nicely you did that. They're clouds, but you made them geometric.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start doing this again, and part of this is to change up the colors and not worry about local color for me. Like if I did pink in the foreground last time, now I'm going to do turquoise. So I'm going to use this, and this one will be more mixed. I'm going to use everything from watercolor pencil to woody to crepage. And
Kim says she made it, but she was late. You'll have to watch the replay, Kim, because we're almost done.
yeah, the day's gone by so quickly. I think we're all ultra focused on kind of just moving some stuff forward, and grab some pencils here.
Well, it's okay that you only got 4 done, Janan.
Yeah, it's not about how many.
No, it's just the fact of doing, right? Showing up and doing. And I am doing with my non-dominant hand.
I can't look at how lovely that is. I love that.
Yeah.
Really
So
fun, Lisa.
this is line and value because it's not anything else, that's for sure. But that's okay. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get knocked off the internet, Lisa.
I think we're still there.
Yeah. Then we look up and we're gone.
Yeah.
I wonder what are you working on? Marie says, Liz, it's like having a new universe of art opened up for me to learn from for Toph. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, Liz. Oh, you guys, thanks, Liz. That's really, really sweet of you. We hope you do enjoy Pro and ASM. For those of you in ASM, we'd again love to know how you're doing with that, and I will be doing a poll pretty soon to get more feedback from you as to what you'd like to see happen in the fall when we all start afresh and start together. So I'm going for some very solid color. Actually, one of my hopes when we begin ASM again, for all of you who are in that pro and ASM, is for you guys to start thinking now, to start reflecting, and I will, don't worry, I'll be emailing you about this, but start reflecting on your last year and your last 2 years actually of growth, because you've grown a lot. We've seen it. For those of you who post in the Facebook group, we see so much growth, and it's been so fun to see you guys really finding your voice and clarity and confidence and ability to speak and write and paint with the visual language of art. So we want you guys to keep elevating. And so like, what's going to be key for you to keep elevating your voice? And so part of what I'm hoping will happen is that as you guys each think about what you've been doing, what you've been listening to and absorbing over the last 2 years, the first year being the Art Success Masters when we created it, and the second year having Toph and all of his important lectures. And it's not about keeping up with anybody. It's about your personal journey.
Right.
You know, what do you want to really focus on? Let me just move this up here.
Sarah likes the idea of geometric clouds.
Nice. Okay, so
Karen
let's see. I want to
Topher's a gem.
This one. There we go. Yeah, so you guys who are in ASM, and I really want you guys to start reflecting about the last 2 years of your art. Do you feel that you have progressed forward, and in what way have you progressed forward? And in what way would you like to focus on? It can be like Cynthia Lee, for example, is going to be coming to my studio as well. And she's really upping her game in that she's doing a lot of preparatory reading before coming here. And she's actually going to have kind of like a thesis. So she has a very strong theme. And when she comes here, she wants to really get a sense of the history. There's a lot of Native American history here in this area, as well as geological history. So she's incorporating that into her art. That's a very high level. That's kind of what you do in grad school. So for some of you who are advanced artists, I encourage you to think of a theme that might take you a year. Most MFAs take 2 years or more. So to spend a year on one topic that you care a lot about and really explore it, really exploit it. And as we go through each masterclass, it'll be a different way for you to think about your theme, no matter what it is. And, you know, the consideration of, well, where does line play a part in my theme? So we'll definitely be working a series. We'll definitely be challenging you with ideas, but we also want to keep it simple because many of you just want to go through the master classes again, like we did the first year. And of course, that's perfectly fine, but we encourage everybody going through it for the second time to find a way to break out of the box, try something different, try something you haven't tried before. Basically make it a little harder for yourself. So if you found the value exercise hard last time, just that value scale from like 1 to 10, you know, we might ask you to do it in color and do it that way. Ooh. Because that is an elevated way of doing it. And it's a lot harder.
It is.
The whole point of doing it in black and white was let's first nail this with black and white, and then we can deal with color. As far as the color sheets go that we made, you know, perhaps you create them in a different way. They don't have to be done with the jelly plate. And then use those pages to create a work of art. Now that could be collage. It could be partial collage. You never know. It could be breaking it up into tiny little bits and maybe making a mosaic of some kind. So like, it's really on you to, we'll give you some ideas to push yourself, but ultimately you know where you are and yes. You know where you want to go. So yeah.
So is YouTube going to kick us off? at the top of the hour, if we're still on here, it'll let us be, right?
Yeah,
if
we
we're
can continue
finishing.
on, guys, yeah. If anybody wants to stay on longer, we might just do that just to have her. Like I've got like one more to go. I'm getting kind of a little bit faster. I'm not thinking as hard, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to get these done.
Well, and I didn't go back to detail. Yeah. I just realized that I needed to have a different size marker to do this,
Gotcha.
to do both. And so, yeah, it
nice.
Is smaller. So it does seem like detail, but I'm not thinking about it.
Oh, no, I can tell you're not, because you've got a beautiful, like the way you're holding your pen is
way back, and
loose,
and
yeah. Whoops.
Yeah, so it's good.
Yeah, so you can see what Lisa's doing. You might want to show a close up of that because that's very Pollock-like.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, I used the big marker that was a brush, and then I'm using the fine point to put in the scratchy stuff. And this is, I didn't even do the water. This is just the rocks. I got so interested in the rocks and the trees. Yeah.
That's cool that you didn't do the water.
Yeah.
In the end, what you really cared about stuck out.
Yeah. And I might still do it, but it's right now about the rocks. It's pretty darn cool. And of course, I'm not even looking at the photo because I'm responding to what I did already. And I did do the big marker with my non-dominant hand, which was really fun. Thanks, Cheryl. We're having fun together, that's for sure.
Yeah. So here's another variation, same composition, very mixed media, watercolor pencil, woody, crayons, the crink, acrylic, mica marker, I guess it was, for the original lines. And so I think I have one left to go. What am I going to do here?
Ooh. Let's see, these can't get wet. Like I can't wet my paper.
Well, you can wet the paper. They won't run, if that's what you mean.
Even not at all?
I don't think so, but you could just try a little.
Well, I'm going to try it. Yeah. I just don't want to ruin the marker. Some markers don't.
Well, you don't want to get the marker wet, but you can get this wet.
Okay, so if
I wouldn't go into wet paper. No.
Can I do wet paper with some of these markers? I
don't think so.
Do you have a black woody?
Sure.
That'll work.
Probably. Actually, my black. Sometimes I use it so much that there it is.
Is it a stub?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah. My water's not clean. Okay, we're having so much fun, guys. We're probably going to run after the end of the hour.
A little bit, but not too much because we really kind of have a lot to do.
Yeah.
Okay. We won't set our timer again because we're kind of getting to the bottom.
Now to the finish line.
I'm just going to grab some ink pens, and you've got the big bowl. Are you going to keep using it, or can I borrow that for
what do you need?
This guy?
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more time, guys. Just one more composition that I'm going to do here.
And you have this one if you need to as well. Didn't use my credit cards today.
Not really credit cards, but whatever those were.
Yeah.
I didn't have credit cards.
I had fun using those with my phone lines.
Right.
Yesterday.
That's cool.
Okay.
right, since this is my last one, I'll get this out of the way. And this one's going to be lots of dry media. I've got pencils, charcoal, art graph, and here's a marabou.
Here's your black woody if you need it.
Okay, black woody. Is there an art graph? Maybe I don't have it.
Yes,
okay.
Me too, Shiloh. I'm so glad you're going to watch it again. I don't do multiples myself. And so yesterday when we started, it was really nice for me to realize, yeah, it really does help, Lisa. Don't be stubborn. And then today, like I said, when I went from the barn to the rocks and I was immediately more abstract, that was just so encouraging for me to see, yeah, it really does make a difference. So yeah, go for it. It's amazing what we learn when we actually try. I sometimes think, oh, I'm not going to get anything out of that. But I
happens
do.
A lot.
Yeah, I know.
We think we know,
Yeah.
but until you do it, you realize you don't know.
No, and I'm guilty of it too.
So I always consider myself a beginner because if I just do it,
Isn't that
it's like, oh my gosh, I
right?
feel like I'm starting all over again.
Such a nice concept. And then there's no expectations of yourself. And, you know, I am so bad about having all these expectations, you know, and it just gets you wound up inside. And we don't need that.
Yeah, but artists, I was listening to this, that new thing that Cynthia Lee, I want to find that, you guys, just to recommend another good book. Let's see, what was that? Hang on a second. It was called... I have to go into my Audible. You can get it as an Audible book. It's called The Creative Act. And let's see here. I'm going to my library here. The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. The other favorite of mine right now is Atomic Habits. And that's by James Clear. They're both on Audible. He has a lot of great things to say about, you know, digging from deep within, and you'll just really enjoy it. And it's very, very easy to listen to. Very cool. So any last comments before we sign off, guys? Love to know what you're doing. Sarah McCracken. Toph is such a lovely man. I wish he was my neighbor. Me too.
No, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Jay Leslie, thoroughly enjoyed. Let's see, now she moved way down to somewhere. Let's see here. Oh, there it is. Thoroughly enjoyed looking at the work of David Hockney and how the endless fascination, let's just pin that comment here. His endless fascination with the world around him inspires his art. I agree. Let's see. Okay. And Shiloh. Okay, let's pin your comment, Shiloh. I will be rewatching the video ASAP. I haven't done multiples on one thing before. I was a bit nervous about it. This was so fun. I'm excited to get into it. I'm fully prepared now. Thank you so much. I agree. I have not done a lot of that myself, Shiloh, and I thought, you know, that was kind of a good thing for me to do. Something I hadn't really done before and thought, no, it doesn't appeal to it. Now it was like, you know, I think it does. We're all learning so much from Toph and you, Pam, and Lisa, and has been a great help too. So wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you. And do you care if I show my progression?
Yes, please do so.
Okay, so this was my first one. I don't know why I have trouble getting it straight. There it is.
You're doing it. Good.
So this was the first one of the cliff. And, you know, that's local color and looks pretty normal, right? And then after that, I did this one, I think was next. And I really had a lot of fun with that. I love those colors, non-local color, and just totally abstract and the different ways you can turn it. You know, I think it's just a great thing. I just really learned a lot from this. So that's really exciting. And it's funny how it looks like the red part is like the bottom, and that's because of local color. But you know what? It's not. The red part is the trees. Isn't that interesting? So it doesn't have to be what it is. Once you get going on it, it's very cool. And then I did this one with orange as my trees. I had so much fun using the tip of the brush, you guys, just the tip of the brush to do the marks of the rocks and the trees and the sky, the red sky, and just super fun. And then I think I only did one more, and that was with the markers and the Stabilo. Yes.
Stabilos, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And I used my non-dominant hand for all the big fat black marks. And wow, that was just really, really neat.
Yeah. Good
to
challenge,
do that.
right?
Yeah, it was super good challenge. I did switch to my right hand for the little marks inside the rocks. Sorry for that wobbling, guys, but really a lot of fun. And I'm so glad that more of you have realized how much you are learning with that, because I did too. And I'm here to say I wouldn't let myself do it before. You know, I was just stubborn. I don't need to do that. You know, so it was a lot of fun.
Good. Yay. Wonderful, Lisa.
It took me coming to visit Pam to do it.
Oh, well, I'm so happy you're here. Yeah, it's been great. You're pushing me and I'm pushing you and, you know, pushing each other.
That's right. We're having a lot of fun.
Okay, so I'm almost ready to show you my my 8 here. I'm just working on that last one. This is my marabou crayon. Let's see what happens with that. It's really nice and dark. Okay, so I've been the one who kind of kept the same composition and then just playing with different materials. So I guess I'll turn my camera down real quickly here and see if I can remove.
Oh, that means they can't hear us.
Guys.
We're back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I have this just that's
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just show you guys my series, which, you know, did it this morning, and different mediums, but same composition. And like, what did I learn from doing this? And this one is, hang on one second, because this one probably needs a little bit more. Oops, careful. Yeah. Okay, just want to fix one thing here because it's a little bit too dark.
She's getting picky.
Really. It's just the values. Okay, so I'll show you. I'm going to just lay these out. First of all, this is my little preliminary deal where I was, you know, testing out different mediums, and then I'll just reshow this again for those who came later. A couple days ago, I did kind of a series here with different compositions, but I only used one medium. It was crayons because I was sitting in front of the TV, and I did like these guys. So they definitely hang together because they were done with the same medium, same treatment, and so that's one way to do a series. But today my series was more based on the same composition, but varying the materials, tools. These are all done on illustration board, and one of these, this one had a black underpainting, and this one had a line underpainting here. This one was all done in graphite, just black and white, and I kind of just wanted to leave that one the way it was. This is my latest one, which I was kind of rushed, but so you can kind of see the two black and white together. These are all black and white. And then, oh, I have one over here. So then I'm just going to scoot on your side if you don't mind.
Yeah, want to move these?
Okay. Here's some more color ones. This is all done with woody, and then this one is done with watercolor, mostly water-based media. So you can kind of just see how keeping the same composition, and you know, I would have developed these further, but given the time, the values are going to be pretty important. I think that if you see them up close too, you can kind of see a little bit better how they vary. All right, so Lisa, are we good?
I think we are. I did
All
9
right.
today. I cannot believe it.
Did you show them all?
Well, I think so, yes. I showed the barns earlier and then just now showed the rocks. And
Okay.
it's pretty exciting.
All right. So Shiloh says, Lisa, those last ones are all full of an exciting energy that really reminds me of you. How sweet.
Thank you.
Okay. Kim says, I want to thank you so much for allowing all of us to peek into your world of art. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, sweet Kim, thank you so much. And Burkana says, love your rocks, Lisa, and the colors too. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And please like the video if you enjoyed our session. And we hope to see you next Monday.
Yeah.
On our Momentum Mondays. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yay.
We did it.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.